Doesn't mean you're going to be able to make it, but you will always, in the back of your mind, wonder what could have been. And it won't ruin your life or anything, but it'll always be nagging at you somewhere back there. But if you try and try your best, give it your best, there's no failure. The only failure is not trying. So, you know, for those of you that haven't decided what you want to do yet, don't go into acting if you don't want the competition. Try, please try.
Speaking of competition, how did you get your opportunity for Spongebob and how did that process go?
It's very unremarkable how it came about. It was just simply another audition.
Yep.
And you know, you go into your agent's office back then. We didn't really audition at home. Technology had not developed that far yet. And so I just came in and saw the breakdowns. I said, well, on this character here, I might be able to have something to offer. And we did that. Got the part. Did the pilot. Pilot was aired. I didn't think it was that good. And then 2 years later, I mentioned to somebody on the street that I worked for on Spongebob, and their eyes got big as saucers. You guys are so cool! So I said, well,
You guys are so coral.
So we might have been on to something. So no one, I don't think anybody knew that this would be this way.
Yeah.
But it was just an audition.
It's like a freak of nature. Sometimes you audition for something and you never. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, thanks.
What?
So, I can't hear anything. Sometimes you just don't know. I mean, you have no idea. That's the craziness of our business. People be like, did you know? It's like, no, we didn't know we were going to land a Family Guy or a Spongebob or you know, a really cool game or something like that. So, did we see the pictures? I can't remember. Of our drawings of our characters.
I saw more drawings.
Okay, because I'm having a brain fart because I'm getting old. But so I think, yeah. So yes, of course we did, because I remember getting interviewed in TV Guide back, and I remember thinking she was the biggest teenager, so I knew that like she was kind of, you know, it said like a daddy's girl or something like that. You know, the specs were like she's a daddy's girl, kind of spoiled but lovable, right? And then she was huge, and it said like she was huge compared to the rest of the other characters, and so I knew she had to kind of be like spoiled and like daddy. She was lovable, and I was like, well, she has to sound like huge, and so I married her. It's too funny because she came out like that, you know. So I had to make sure she didn't sound like she was a little off in some other ways. So yeah, so that's I married the just the hugeness with the kind of like dad, like
Absolutely unique and wonderful take on how this teenager should be as hers. No one else has a teenager that sounds like her. And that's the way down there.
Yep, that's that.
So with the character development, is there any pieces of yourself that you put in when you did Squidward, when you were looking on how you were going to portray Pearl?
Here again with the breakdown, I saw that he had this big honking nose, and he was sarcastic and very thinking of other people as being beneath him, so I gave it that sarcasm. But yes. And put it in the back of the throat, and then when Steve Hillenberg, the creator, came, he said, we have some animation for when he laughs, the nose would strike. And so I figured, well, it has to be some kind of staccato kind of thing, so we went that and it works quite well with that particular animation. Which, by the way, if you listen to it, it has to end off key. It has to be
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
That's one of my little Easter eggs.
That's hilarious. I love that.
I love that answer, as people would say.
So I'm trying to think. I just feel like I am like Pearl. I'm like this larger than life, like girly girl. My got like just now, I'm like, where's my lip gloss? You know, I am such a girl. Except my dad isn't cheap. And I love boys, and I love going to the mall. So I was like, I am Pearl, you know. And then I think something happened in like the first season where I must have cried. I was even like, Daddy. They were like, can you kind of whine it or whatever? And there must have been something where she cried, and so this began like, Daddy. It just became these long, like in the script, it would be like D-A-A-A-A-A-A-A-A-A-A. You know, so things kind of get written in there after a little while. So that was really super fun. That there'd be something kind of written for your character to do. And we have so much fun. And just as if I may, you know, a lot of shows, you'll go in just one at a time. Whereas the show progresses, you know, you just go in one at a time and do your thing and leave. But our show, we always go in together, and it is so much fun. I mean, there's some takes where they're just very, you know, naughty because we get so silly when we have cursing and just, you know, we won't do that for you today. But because we're just having so much fun, and so we just can't. I mean, we just can't stop laughing. So I'm sure we're happening like take after take after take. Because we just literally have fun and we're in there together, so there becomes a lot of improv and a lot of, you know, like really cool stuff that gets in there. And then the characters always stay fresh. The characters always stay fresh and lively. And then there's some new writers, right, that are...
Yeah, new writers that are interjecting literary
like,
references.
It's like B12.
It's absolutely wonderful. Which, you talk about the creativity part, we have developed a way of recording our shows which is wonderfully liberating. We'll do, say, 2 pages at a time, as written. And then we do what's called the crazy take.
Yes.
We can do any darn thing we want to do. And we do. And we do off-color things and stuff. But the non-off-color things oftentimes make their way into the show. But it's wonderful. That's where our improv really comes in. And it's very rewarding to see all that little ad-lib made it into the show.
Yep.
So and it makes it more efficient for us recording. So the writers get what they want, and we get.
And then we get to do like the crazy pass. And you'd be surprised when you get an extra snort or a giggle or like just some line that kind of just comes out, and then it sort of just like flushes out whatever was in the scene, and the writers don't take any offense. We're not rewriting the whole thing. We're not rewriting the whole scene. And I think you guys know now, right, that Tom Kenny is directing, aka Spongebob. So he's directing. I remember one day, because I'm not always in there, and I was like, he's very awesome today. Like, what's going on? He's such a jerk. And he could not be nicer. He's one of the nicest human beings you will ever find. And I was like, he's very awesome today. And so now he's directing. He's a great director.
What's funny is he'll stand next to me, and I can see him.
Yeah.
And he'll give me a direction, which is fine. And then as I'm doing it, I'm looking at the peripheral, and he's giving me a physical line read on it. Stop it!
He's very physical. I was on another show with Tom called Huggle Monsters, and it's for little kids. And we played husband and wife, and he's like, I'm Dad. And I was like, I'm Mama. So our voices are completely different on this other show. And so he's very physical, and I got some crazy, I was like, I want blackmail you with this footage. He was the thing, like singing and jumping jacks. He was like doing jumping jacks while he was singing. It was hysterical. So we both have like bad, crazy blackmail footage on each other. It's very funny.
Our engineer also is recording the entire thing at the time, not just what we're doing, but everything that's said between takes and everything. And these little off-color things he puts into a special file. He'll trot those things out occasionally.
The Christmas party.
Right. You'll never hear it.
So, how has being part of the show changed your life?
Makes me emotional in so many ways. I don't even know where to begin. I'm not being even like dramatic when I say this, but it's totally changed my life. First of all, I love this character. I love this cast. I get to meet you guys.
That's what I was going to say.
I get to meet you guys. Yeah, it's just. This is my first time at Dragon Con. It's just amazing because it's not like, oh, I want to grow my fan base for Twitter. Like, that has nothing to do with that. It's just like, I feel like there's so much craziness going on in the world, right? Especially like right now, right? There's just, at any given point, there's just craziness going on in the world. And so I feel like if we get to do something that makes people laugh or smile, and this sounds so cheesy, but it's like if I get to do that and give back in any small way just by using our voice and being a good storyteller, then I feel like, and that's doing something okay. And I also really believe in service. And so I feel like if it's your job that's of service, great. If it's being of service in another way, like I love animals, so I try to, really fight for animal advocacy for animals that don't get treated well, which they should be. So I just feel like whatever way you can be of service, just kind of give back a little bit. come to the world just this much better. So I feel like on the show we get to do that individually as a cast.
This has been Freedom Talk number 47.
Get off.
And it's changed my life greatly. One of the reasons I left Arkansas was you can't make a living doing this kind of thing in that beautiful state that I call home. And so I wanted to do something on a national level. And even before this, we all were doing commercials and other animations, so that's technically on a national level. But this one is the thing that really expanded horizons and enables all of us to spread our wings. And the idea of being able to come here, see you, this is our feedback. This is our cake, our dessert, because we don't get to do things in front of audiences.
Yeah.
This is where we get to see what you really think of our show and our performance and our characters and all this stuff. It's a nice little ego stroke, but it is so appreciated by all of us. Anybody that comes to these conventions has to say that, they're going to be honest. And if they don't say that, then they don't deserve to
Because
be
we're in
here.
the booth, with each other, or a lot of times, I'm sorry, but we're in the booth like by ourselves or with each other. So we get out to see you, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like somebody going with like paddles and we're like, hi!
That's what we want.
We really love it.
Our hats off there to all.
Yeah.
And as far as your accuracy for animals, I hope you include squids in that, because I'm afraid of that.
Well, I don't know lots.
Okay.
Not for me, though.
So here comes the fun part. My lovely helper, Miss Jody, is right there. If you have any questions, you can go line up behind her.
First answer is no.
And your seat.
And 12.
You just won a new car. Mazda.
Brand new car!
That's what I was just saying.
Can you hear me? This question is for Mr. Squidward. So there's a lot of people in this room who are, in their 20s, and the show's been going on for quite a while now, and I don't have the opportunity to watch it so much anymore. So I wanted to ask you what an episode is where you feel like a Squidward-centric episode has happened recently that you think everyone should go check out.
There is an episode, I forget the name of it, and I'd be hard-pressed to say why it happened, but it's one of those new crazy episodes we have where Squidward is trying to convince Spongebob that someone else has moved into Squidward's house, and it is a German guy. A guy with a German wife and German kids. And Squidward does gibberish German, which was just cracking us up. I saw it for the first time. So, as far as current events, well, Germany still exists. So, I can't relate it to modern events. We try to stay away from that sort of thing. But, yeah, that's just one of my favorite type events.
What about all-time favorite?
All-time favorite. Van Geeks. You know the song at the end? This sweet, sweet victory. Like the Eye of the Tiger, cruddy little song. Well, the guys found this song. And they thought it was so stupid, so crappy, that they wrote the entire episode just to get to that song. It's like the old J. Ward things where they had a pun, like fractured fairy tales. They would end in a pun. And they would write the whole story just to get to that pun. And so our writers did that. That and Dying for Pie. They had some nice little moments in that. So those are my two questions.
Can I answer your question too? Can I answer that question too? Yay! So I think there's a new episode, and again, I don't quite know the title, so forgive me, but it'll be out. It's where the crazy adventure show is coming out. Is when Pearl gets a job at the mall, and she's obsessed with the mall, and all the popular girls are like at the Joyce store, or like whatever. And so Pearl gets one, she really likes these older ladies, and I forget if it's like a knick-knack store or something like that. And so she's with these older ladies, and she gets teased, and the older ladies like stick up for her. And I can't say the famous lady that plays my boss. You'll see it soon. I She's a terrific, the most amazing, one of my comedic heroes. Just leave it at that, an amazing comedic hero legend. And so anyway, she gets a job, and it's really about bullying, because the other girls try to bully her, and she's like, I like working in this place. She doesn't want to have to get a job at like the record store, like the Joy store, or like the food court. She's like, I'm going to go work with these old ladies because they're really nice. And so it's a great episode about bullying, because I was bullied as a kid, and it's really not fun. So that episode I really loved because, for many reasons, especially because the old lady sticks up for her and does like spitballs and the young girls. And then I think my all-time favorite episode so far is the one of, A Whale of a Birthday, of course. And then, is that the episode where boys don't cry?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And then so yeah, Spongebob keeps delivering pizza. So that's probably my favorite one. And there's another one I can't think of it, but I'll think of it as we continue.
The thought just occurred to me, and I think this is true, correct me if I'm wrong, but Pearl and Squidward have never spoken together. I don't think we have. This is a first, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I was before we were going on, I was thinking, how does sane go with Squidward and Pearl? And I was thinking,
Pearl, I just want to ask you a question. Are you adopted? Because that whole biological thing is really puzzling me.
I've been in therapy for a really long time, and I can't answer that because every time I get so upset.
That explains it.
My goodness, I don't know what happened. I'm not allowed to talk about it, so that's probably why I always want to go to the mall to have a distraction.
of course you do, being a teenager and all.
That's right.
That was one of my favorite lines I've heard of your friends there.
Yeah.
Of course you want to do that, being a teenager and all.
And her father, of course, his idea of a good time is having a nice, romantic, candlelit dinner
With money.
with a cash register. It's amazing.
All right, so this question is for the both of you. I want to ask you how you feel about your characters being blown up on the internet in ways you never thought they would. Like me.
I'm sorry, we can barely hear
You
you.
can't hear you so
Okay. Well, I want to ask you how you feel about your characters being blown up on the internet in ways you never thought you would, like in memes or jokes or just random humor.
You can't control that. It's the Wild West. It's going to happen. We are something of an iconic entity now in animation and in American culture. And so eventually you're going to have this happen. The best thing you can do is to ignore it. Not aggressive. Seriously.
Or follow some really cool girls on Instagram who are like obsessed with Pearl. Like, I love you guys, you're so awesome.
So you really have no control over the internet, so don't let it make you crazy.
Yeah.
Just do,
Yeah, I mean, if it's like, people will, like, again, to go to bullying, I mean, not to be like, wah, wah, every hour. But people are going to just be weird and mean sometimes, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
just in regular life. So it's just like, the heck with them. So I just try to ignore it if there's anything weird or mean. I'm like, that's your issue. That's not mine to take on. That's your issue. So, that's seriously, that when anybody's like that, that's about them. And it's hard, right? It's hard not to take it on. That's their stuff. That is not mine to take on, and it's easier said than done for sure. But I'm like, that's you, and I will ignore that and not take it on because I don't want that energy. I'm kind of hard enough on myself as it is. So I'd rather you deal with that, and then I'll look at the funny stuff. I love the memes and the gifts and stuff like that.
And you validate them if you address it at all.
Yep.
So you just have to keep your distance at all and let them fizzle out by themselves, because the quality and the things that are of value of our show and of our performances is the main thing, and it will surpass whatever they are doing. Because of fans like you.
What kind of changes that you personally saw when the original creator left, and you said Tom Kenny, did he immediately take over, or just kind of what was the shift in the whole thing? Because I can kind of tell
when you go from the original creator and then he left, just because I've seen every episode, forwards and backwards.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what you took on that, like what were the changes, minor
Well,
nature?
the story about Stephen Hillenburg is his wife had cancer. And he had initially canceled the show because he's very much a workaholic and he couldn't do both, and he needed to take care of his wife. And then I believe Paramount came in and said, we want to do a film. Fortunately, she started getting better and she's fine. And so she came back to do the film, and he's still there with the recording sessions, but he's no longer directing.
He's back in the room, which he wasn't for a
He's
long
back
time,
in the
right?
room, and he just kind of just monitors things. He doesn't really, say do this, do that, because the whole staff works as a team so well. It's very unusual for all those many writers and others and animators and stuff to work so well together. They've come across the formula for this. So he's there observing and supervising, but everybody else does that. So, he went away, the show went away, but it all came back, and golly gosh darn, we're so happy about that.
This question is for the both of you. If you could do the voice of any other fictional character, what would it be?
Any other character in the show? Or just in general?
Just in general.
Like one that you already know of, like on TV, or just like in life, or?
Just
Well, you may, I'm certain you probably don't know Liza Minnelli. But and then you guys would be like, what? But since you asked,
I'm completely and thoroughly obsessed with Liza Minnelli. So the other day I was walking down the street and somebody said to me, Liza, that's your hat. I said, that's not my hat, silly.
Enough, I'm obsessed with Joel Gray, and we should do cabaret together.
Come and yes.
I love it. Musical theater geeks we are.
Oh yeah.
Hey, musical theater. Theater geeks. I love it.
Little Shop of Horrors, my thing. I so want to do the voice of Audrey too.
Wait a minute.
And the dentist, Steve Harvey's character.
You'll be a dentist.
It's the biggest laugh I've ever had in theater. Yeah, that's a hard question. Maybe that's I've had that question asked before, and it's very difficult because my favorite character is what I'm doing now.
Yay.
I wanted to thank you guys because really, my son's right there, he's 16, and when I got to watch SpongeBob with him, it was like really fun to see. It was a great show because I got to enjoy it, and he got to enjoy it, and we got to both watch the same cartoon together. I just want to thank you guys for that. I was going to ask you to do a scene, do an improv scene, we already did that. So my question is, what do you guys do, when you do your recording? Do you see each other? Is it headphones in a booth? Are there glass panels? I'm just curious, how you get that great, environment going so you guys bounce off and try to do crazy things.
It's a little difficult these days because in animation nowadays, two people in the same room, they can't overlap their dialogue because both mics being open will give a strange sound. So you have to wait till the other person completely finishes his line before you can come in, which creates a kind of an isolation between the ensemble work, which is remarkable that we can actually do that and have that ensemble work because we do have that artificial separation of things. The old J. Ward cartoons, Rocky and Bullwinkle, they didn't care about that. And if you watch those, they overlap all the time. And there is a great group ensemble quality to that. So we
But don't we have that? Because isn't Bill in a separate booth sometimes? And isn't Doug Lawrence in a separate booth sometimes? Right?
Yeah, we have an isolation booth where Spongebob used to be in because he's in every scene.
Directing like this.
But we're directing back then.
No, I know.
But we could overlap with him. But anybody else in the same room, there's that artificial separation that we have to deal with. So it's kind of a tribute to blow our own horns. It's kind of a tribute that we can do that and sound that way
That's my
with that artificial inhibition.
But what we do, just so you get an idea, we used to do a lot of table reads, but now we don't do them so
Not
much.
anymore, no.
So what we do is we record on Wednesdays, 2 to 6-ish. And so we go to Woodley Park and we come in and then we go, we sign our contract before you go into the booth and everybody grabs like a water or something and then they come in and we do record with the cans on because we have to be able to hear our engineer in the other, behind the glass. And then we go and we get all settled. And we always want to read, we get scripts like a couple days before, and so you try to flip through, we do flip through the boards.
It's a storyboard.
Storyboard, so you can see what's going on, like especially if the girl's like, Daddy, and it's a different thing if she's like, Daddy, and he's right there. It's different if she's like on top of her thing and she's falling off, because then they'll be like, Daddy! Louder, right? So you flip through the boards to make sure you definitely know what's going on in the show or your particular scene. And then we just go in and then we just have a great time because we've got, like I said, we've got the cans on and we usually don't even take a break. We're just fast. We know what we're doing at this point.
It is a very unusual process to do this because we're being in the control room first before we go into the studios, and we're sitting around going, what shall we do today? Let's see. Shall we voice the commercial? No. Let's voice a cartoon. So we go to the studio, and the engineer says, okay, take one and go.
I'm ready.
Shut up, Spongebob. Oh, here comes Mr. Krabs. Oh, I love money. And here comes him.
Hi, Gary.
And then comes Mrs. Puff. Oh, Mrs. Puff. Oh, Spongebob.
That's lunch. It's crazy in there.
Okay, I was just recently in the hospital and we got some free time to watch TV and we always watch SpongeBob and that was the best part of my day because it just made me so happy. So I really want to thank you guys for making the show so funny and great. My question was, who is your favorite non-recurring character in SpongeBob?
It's a good question because we do what's called a 3-for-1 in animation. You do your main character, then they toss two incidentals at you, and oftentimes those are characters that only appear once. I've got a guy that is slightly on the Jewish side. Hey, there's a guy over there. He's pink. Is that the guy? Oh, there he is then. It's always a fun character for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm trying to think of what another character of mine has been. That's a great question. I want to still think you're feeling better. Are you feeling better? Yay!
There's a modern cartoon.
Your health is the most important thing. I think there's this girl, or no, I also have an old lady who's like,
So anyway, I'm going to tell you something. You know, we got to go shopping, and we got to have a Krabby Patty, for God's sakes. And we won't make like a run for it, but there's a problem with the
what's the name of the thing? For God's sakes, what's the name?
thank you, the Krusty Krab.
The thing?
You think I knew it because my father runs the store. So there's always an old lady character that I do that's like, I need to know if they're on sale.
Of course, they never go on sale, so I think it's that lady.
And there's another guy that said, oh, I didn't say that. Is that what? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Just crazy off the wall kind of thing like that.
Yeah, so that's how we take, that's where our acting chops and improv chops come in handy. Because you're like, this is a script. I gotta do that girl, this sort of valley girl, or I gotta do the old lady, I gotta do